Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am showing you guys, finally, after all this time, how to complete the Easter egg in the Black Ops 6 Zombies map, The Tomb. The Easter egg can be summarized in 3 main steps, and then the boss fight, which is going to be get the Wonder Weapon, upgrade the Wonder Weapon, and then do some lockdown sequences. So what I'm going to do for the purpose of this video is I'm going to take existing tutorial videos that are already on my channel and show them at the beginning here, so that way you guys can get and upgrade the Ice Staff, and then I'm going to jump back in time so you can hear the current day me talk about the last 2 steps. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe if you are new, but let's show you guys how to do the Easter egg in the Tomb. This is how to get the Ice Staff in the brand new Black Ops 6 Zombies map, The Tomb. For the first step, you're going to need to wait till round 8 and end up killing the Shock Mimic, and upon killing the Shock Mimic, you are going to end up receiving the first part, which is going to be the monocle. Step 2 and Step 3 are a little bit more complicated. Around the map are going to be these dark ether lanterns, and you're going to want to shoot them, and they're going to move around from location to location at random, but what you want to have ultimately end up happening is have it land in this specific area in front of one of these 2 portraits. Either the portrait of the bull or the portrait of the hunter. You'll know when they're in the right spot when the symbols are glowing yellow. Each symbol on the painting represents a number 1 through 8 for the bull and a number 1 through 10 for the hunter. You need to shoot them from 1 to 8 and 1 to 10. Now, instead of telling you guys what each symbol means, I'm just going to instead borrow this image from Milo because it's much easier to show this than explain it. The positioning of the symbols is different each and every single game, but the number order does not change, so just look for the symbol that represents the number 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. For the bull, shoot it up until you get to the number 8, and for the hunter, just do it until you get to the number 10. Regardless of which image you're currently working on, upon shooting the last number, a lockdown sequence is then going to start. Now, even though this is not the hardest task in the world, it is still difficult by Black Ops 6 standards, so I do recommend having at least one decent gun and maybe perhaps a few perks, because you're going to be subjected to multiple mini-bosses and even some of the hardcore bosses like the Amalgam and the Dopplergas, so please do be prepared when you go into this. Once you complete the lockdown sequence, you're going to be rewarded with one of these staff parts, and you would just rinse and repeat, do the exact same thing for the other painting, just shoot the dark ether lanterns until they end up moving into position, and do another lockdown. Once you've completed both lockdowns and now have all 3 parts, you're going to need to do one last step, which requires you to go into the Pack-a-Punch area and end up doing one last lockdown where you have to protect the Ice Staff as it's forming and prevent it from getting damaged. You just interact with this little area right here and a health bar will spawn in. By this point, for your own sake, I hope that you end up having a decent amount of perks and guns by now. One tip I recommend is having sentry guns, because that's pretty much the only reason why I was able to do this step successfully on solo, because Jesus Christ, this staff has little to no HP, and everybody and their grandmother is trying to kill you and break the staff. So for your own sake, please be prepared going into this last step. But after all of that, if you manage to successfully get to the point where the screen fades to white, you most likely completed the last step and now can pick up the final product, the Ice Staff. This is how to get the upgraded Ice Staff in the brand new Black Ops 6 Zombies map, The Tomb. Now that we got the base staff, this is how you get the upgraded staff. You're going to need to find the dark ether lanterns again, and you're going to need to end up shooting 3 of them in rapid succession. Now, this can be anywhere within the map. It doesn't matter what particular ones that you pick, as long as you get them within roughly 10 seconds, it seems like. And then if you end up getting a dialogue prompt in the corner, you've successfully completed the first step. For the second step, you're going to want to go back into the Pack-a-Punch area and look up in the sky and shoot down these floating rocks that have purple symbols underneath of them. You're going to want to end up finding 3 rocks in total and memorize all of these different symbols, because you're going to need to save them for the next step. After this step, shortly thereafter, one of the portals in the Pack-a-Punch area is going to end up closing. Whatever portal is closed, you're going to need to find that entrance in the overworld again. If you find the correct portal in the overworld, it's going to now look like this. It's going to be a slab with all these different symbols on it, and with your Ice Staff, you're going to need to shoot the 3 symbols that were on the floating rocks that you did in the last step. And once you end up shooting all 3 of these symbols with the Ice Staff, it will then break the slab and the teleporter will work once again. As long as the symbols match yours, you can shoot them in any particular order. However though, if you get the wrong symbol and go through the teleporter anyway, this step will end up downing you and killing you, so make sure you don't mess up. Now, if you got everything correct, you're going to want to go through the teleporter, and then you're going to land in a new location. You're going to be floating in the sky on top of a random rock, and there's going to be this purple orb that's next to you that you're going to want to interact with your interact key, and then this is going to cause a white screen to flash, and then you're going to fall down. Once this step is activated, you're going to need to follow and protect this purple orb from zombies, and it's very, very hard to do so unless you're basically right on top of it, so make sure that you do not let it out of your sight. The orb is going to do a little loop throughout the Pack-a-Punch area, and once it ends up getting to its final destination, which is back by the podium where you created the ice staff in the first place, once it goes inside, you can take the ice staff out, interact with it, and then you will finally end up having the upgraded ice staff. Now back in the Dark Aether, you're going to want to end up taking the upgraded ice staff and use the back end of it to shoot these crystals that have statues with the mini bosses on them in the following order. The first one is going to be the one that has the vermin, and then you're going to want to pick up the crystal after shooting it and end up eventually heading to the spawn. Upon getting to the spawn, you're going to want to place it right here, and you're going to have your first lockdown sequence. You need to end up killing all the vermin in the area to charge up the crystal. I recommend just using your ice staff because you're basically Jesus at this point, and it's very easy to end up completing this step. Once you have completed this step, you're going to want to re-pick up the crystal, and you're going to want to take it back to where you originally had once found it. Now, the thing is that once you have the crystal in your inventory, you cannot end up getting hit too many times, otherwise it's going to reset this entire step. I would say you can get away with like 2 or 3 hits at the very most, and then eventually you're going to lose all the energy from it that you've just gotten. So I'd recommend just spamming the ever-living crap out of the ice staff. You're going to get a max ammo eventually anyways. As a FYI, whatever fast travel is the closest to the area in which the lockdown is taking place will be shut down, so you have to take a different area to get back to the Aether. You know you will have done this step correctly when the health meter for the crystal ends up going away, and you no longer have that purple crap on your screen. Now go ahead and do this with the Parasite one, which is going to be just to the direct right of the Vermin statue. For the second lockdown, you're going to want to head over to Stamina. Now for this challenge, it's not just blindly killing, you will have to do a task here. What's going to happen is that when the parasites spawn in, some of them are going to be glowing purple, and you have to kill them so that way they drop these purple orbs, which you then have to walk into to pick up, and then you have to walk them into the statue. You have to do this until you have enough of this energy, and then the lockdown's going to complete. And once again, just like the last lockdown, you're going to want to end up picking up the crystal and taking it back to the appropriate statue in the Aether. The third statue is going to end up being the Doppelgast one, which is going to be right here behind where the ice staff normally gets created, and then you're going to want to just once again shoot this crystal as well. Take this one to Speed Cola, and then just once again just kill everything in sight, and then bring it back to the appropriate statue. The next and last statue is for the Amalgam. It's located right here near the blue portal, or once again behind where the ice staff gets created. The last statue is going to be located right in front of Quick Revive. This is going to spawn in the red Amalgam, which is going to be the really strong one. And this boss does end up having phases where he'll leech health from other zombies and become immune, so you do need to kill the common zombies that he's linking his health to in order to end up fully killing him if he does so. Now once you end up taking the very last crystal back to the Aether, you're going to want to end up interacting with this area right here where the purple laser beam is hitting the symbols, and this is going to lower the bridge so that way you can go to the boss arena. After you end up having everything that you need, gobblegums, guns, perks, and all, go ahead and activate the Sentinel artifact and start the boss fight, because once you start it, you cannot leave. Now this boss fight ends up having a whole bunch of mini phases broken up into what feels like 10 different parts, but they have 3 different themes. The very first 4 are just going to be just sequences of where the Sentinel artifact is spinning around and shooting a laser beam, and you have to hide from it while it's red, and eventually when it goes blue, that's when you want to lay into it with specifically a bullet gun. Wonder weapons do not work, so don't use a ray gun or an ice staff. It's just completely immune. You must use a bullet gun, so go ahead and shoot the Sentinel artifact with your bullet gun until it ends up making a pop sound and breaking, and you'll see his health go down. Every single time that you end up doing this, the Sentinel artifact will give you a max ammo, and it will also end up splitting into multiple other Sentinel artifacts, making it where there's going to be more lasers as it goes on and on and on and on, and this will be the case for the first like 4 phases. Now once you start to get to the point where the little red health bar of the Sentinel artifact is floating just around the area of the skull, it's now going to go into the second phase where it starts attaching itself to mini bosses. So, for 4 different phases, it's going to attach itself to the following: a normal zombie, a Doppelgast, a mimic, and then an amalgam, in that order. While the lasers are still spinning, these bosses can easily kick your ass and can 1 to 2 shot you even with tier 3 armor and all your perks, so please do be careful with these bosses. They can ruin a run for you. Now the last phase of the Sentinel artifact is going to end up being a wiping phase, so make sure you lock the heck in for this last one, because if you fail this, you have to start the Easter egg all over again. It would be recommended that you use a Gobblegum in this particular instance. Something like Idolize or Free Fire would be very, very useful here, and you're just going to want to just spam at this particular spot until he ends up dying. If you manage to get this very last step, you then have officially completed the Easter egg within the tomb, and you will then get the achievement and the ending cutscene. That being said, guys, if you end up enjoying today's video, please drop a like, subscribe if you are new. If you guys have a particular video you guys want to see from me in the future, just leave it here in the comments down below. But yeah, guys, with all that being said, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!